on it. Story in Forbes about an incredible security van. Not against this technology. I think, here's the van. I think this is incredible in a war zone. They're called X-ray vans. They can see through walls. They can see through your clothing. They were previously only bought by the Department of Defense for use in Afghanistan and Iraq. But now it seems the federal government has bought at least 500 of these vans, and they're being used here domestically. Why? For what purpose? Who's using them? They're using them now in your neighborhoods, possibly. That's what we're being told. Congress can't even get a response on this one. The Obama administration is being elusive, won't say exactly who's buying them and why we're driving these vans, apparently, down the streets in our neighborhoods. Now, again, if they're used in a war zone, if they're used for shipping containers at our ports, if they're used at our Mexican border, which I know they're probably not, or our Canadian border, I'm cool, let us know. But pardon me if I'm a little hesitant in giving government free rein to look into people's houses driving down the street without a search warrant. Gang, I mean, I hate to put on the hoop skirt and wig, but doesn't the Constitution figure into any of this? Is it really a good idea to give people who openly think that Americans are Homer Simpson and thus can be manipulated, who openly feel it's their duty to control them for the greater good? Should we give them this much power to monitor everything we do? Should people give power to people who think that SUVs and your thermostat and big screen TVs are what's destroying the planet? Should we give them the ability to control our thermostats through a smart grid and manipulate us in every choice we make and monitor everywhere we go? Should we really give more power to people who go to our school children and indoctrinate them like this?
There are some things about our world that you know that older people don't know.
Here he is speaking in front of 12 and 13-year-olds. There are things that you know that older people don't know. Excuse me? What are those things that parents don't know that their children do? Can we please ask the media and the politicians, how is it now that kids are smarter somehow than their parents? Can someone give me a definition or when it changed, when it was okay or a good idea to pit kids against their parents and allow government officials to do it? The president recently announced that he wants to elongate the school day and the school year, so children now will be away from their parents for even more time during the year. And now they're in the hands of the Department of Ed, a monolithic, faceless bureaucracy that America was somehow or another able to limp through without until 1979. This is not some institution that we've always had. 1979. And nothing's gotten better. This is a new organization, the Department of Education, and they are gaining more and more power. Our U.S. Education Secretary, Arne Duncan, vowed to make sure that his department, take a guess, what? Improved graduation rates? No. Improved test scores? No. He vowed that his department would work to make American children into good environmental citizens. Watch.
A well-educated citizen knows that we must not act in this generation in ways that endanger the next. They teach students about how the climate is changing. They explain the science behind climate change and how we can change our daily practices to help save our planet. They have a role in preparing students for jobs in the green economy.
There is no green economy. America, this is your job as a parent. Did you ask your schools to make your child a green environmental citizen? And then there was the Assistant Secretary of Energy, who recently talked about the administration's 4 tactics for the deployment of clean energy. The first 3 were government subsidies. The last one, quote, you're going to love this, she says, it's where we have a mandate, where we can actually just issue regulations and do market transformation. Okay, hang on just a second. That's Cass Sunstein. As the secretary says, we're going to make people save money for themselves. This is all part of the appliance standards we told you about last week, where most people don't even pay attention to the story. And it results in yet another choice taken away, because they will force you to save money. They already have so much control, and they continue to eliminate choice after choice after choice. Some may seem mundane, like building sandcastles or growing vegetables. But one day you will wake up and wonder, where has it all gone? This is the progressive opportunity, and they know it. They are not willing to let it slip away. There are radicals, there are revolutionaries. Van Jones is one of them. He is telling people now about the upcoming election. He is telling people that you should be afraid. I will show you what he said next. All right, I want to show you the progressive opportunity here. They are not willing for all of their hard work to go away. They have made the choice. You are going to have this. And they put all the framework in there to control you. Now, the party of hope has been Van Jones and Barack Obama. And this is what he's telling you about the upcoming election. Here it is.
This election is feeling more fear-based. And what we got to realize is that can also support us. Because if you think things are bad now, what will happen when the people who are screaming and yelling at these Tea Party events are actually in charge of your government, and actually in charge of your life, and in charge of your kids' future? That is, maybe you may have some hope fatigue, but you got a lot of reason to be fearful enough, I think, to stay involved and to get involved. I don't think you want the Tea Party running your community, running your family, running your government.
I don't want them to run my family. I don't want them in charge of my children. I don't want the government in charge. We are. That is the American ideal. Most of the media will focus on how he's resorting to fear, if they focus on this at all. But did you notice the scenario that he is pointing out is a world where the Tea Party is in charge of your life, in charge of your kids' future? No. That is the difference. Get out of my life. Get out of my bedroom. Get out of my garbage. Get out of my garage. Get out of my kids' life. Get out of my workplace. Get out. Progressives have the idea that they know better. And when you don't take the carrot that Cass Sunstein dangles out, well, then it's back to the drawing board and it becomes a shove. History has shown us that a shove is what comes next. Friday night, a friend of mine, Vince Flynn, the author, he called me up and he said, hey, I'm in town, you want to have dinner? And so our wives and I, Vince and I went out, and we talked about revolutions. And yeah, I know you envy me and our dinner conversation. Our wives were crying by the end of it. Anyway, we were talking about how there's commonality. In almost every major revolution, in the end, when their power starts to slip, that's when the killers show up. In 1973 in Chile, Pinochet, he led a coup d'etat ending the socialist government's rule. Political opponents were treated harshly. The National Stadium was used as a clearinghouse for prisoners. And when I say clearinghouse, tens of thousands were tortured. And as many as 3,000 were executed. I mean, I could go on with the stories. I could show them to you in France. I could show them to you in Germany. I could show them to you in Russia, Cuba, everywhere. It happens over and over again. And the reason why I bring this up is because an update of the assassination list story. Now, remember this story? It came out a while back, and comments from the NSA chief, John Brennan, jumped out to me, and we reported on these comments. Listen.
There are, though, in my mind, dozens of U.S. persons who are in different parts of the world that are very concerning to us.
Okay. He's talking about American citizens not having a fair trial, no due process, only on the word of the president to be executed, assassinated. Now, here's what I said about the story at the time. Watch. There are allegedly dozens of Americans on this hit list who pose a threat to the United States. Gee, I wonder if I'm on it. Okay, when I said that, we had a leftist blogger in the audience, who said, Glenn Beck is completely nuts and I'm going to prove him wrong. Did they? Nope. They filed a Freedom of Information Act request back in May. And here's part of the response that they received from the CIA. The answer is, no, that's not happening. But here it is. The response is, our record systems are not configured in a way that would allow us to perform a search reasonably calculated to lead to responsive records. Therefore, we must decline to process your request. The CIA can't search their records? That's what you came up with? The people with the rubber mat, that's it? That's not helpful. We contacted the CIA. They responded to us saying that me being on the list is absurd. Okay, great. But can you tell me about the rest of the list? Because this ain't about me. I really don't think I'm on the assassination list. Right? If they wanted to kill me, Kat Sunstein would just, come up with a new government regulation called, I don't know, cash for fried foods. I'd be dead in a week. The ACLU and the Center for Constitutional Rights went after this information. They were stonewalled by the White House. Where is the media on this? No president in American history has had American citizens on an assassination list. We do not assassinate American citizens. I don't care how ugly they are. I don't care what monsters they are. They're citizens. They have rights. I can't believe I actually have to point that out on national TV, but apparently I do, because nobody else will. Find it in the Constitution that an American citizen without due process can be targeted for execution by the President of the United States. It doesn't exist. But these people don't care what's in the Constitution. We're moving past the Constitution. Well, where do they get their power? Where's the limit on the power? The reason you don't hear all of this is because the three branches of government has failed, and the fourth branch has also failed, the media. That is why you must stand up. You must stand for personal responsibility. You must stand for the Constitution. Mr. President, show me your friends and I will show you your future. Your friend, Bill Ayers, the book that he wrote, dedicated to Sirhan Sirhan. Sirhan Sirhan. Now, for those who don't know who this guy is or what he did, he's just the guy who assassinated Robert F. Kennedy. We don't celebrate assassins. We understand that any killing of American citizens without due process is not an assassination. It doesn't matter if Sirhan Sirhan did it or the President of the United States. It is the same. Under our Constitution, it is cold-blooded murder. Make the choice, America. Glad you're here. Thank you very much for watching. If we were to listen to the new HHS Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, she said you're confused about health care reform. Or how about John Kerry? I showed you earlier what he said.
We have an electorate that doesn't always pay that much attention to what's going on. So, people are influenced by a simple slogan rather than by the facts and the truth or what's happening.
I can't believe he said that. I mean, it is true, John. About 69 million people were influenced by three simple words: hope and change. It's not because they were stupid. I mean, was it? I don't think so. I think it's because Americans are trusting. They trust that people are generally like them and generally